Hey everybody, welcome to the Casual Nerd Podcast where we talk about everything from video games to new movies that are coming out, like sci-fi or whichever kind of nerdy movie you're into. Here with me is Tips, Keith, and Lee. My name is Shaq. So we're going to start off with a little bit about ourselves. We all started in a game called World of Warcraft. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably familiar with the game. It's an MMO online. It's been around for about 8 years. Like 8 million people play it. So we all met. I was a guild leader about 3 years ago, and I was looking for people to raid with. And I happened to come along. I think it was Lee first, and then Keith, but I'm not sure. But Tips was the last one to follow through, and we've been friends ever since. So we've been playing games. We've been trying MMOs together. And we're kind of here to tell you our stories of all the stuff that has happened to us, all the shenanigans we get into, and I'll go ahead and send it over to Tips. Go ahead and tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, like Shaq said, we met during Wrath of Lich King expansion, right around the time that ICC opened up, and maybe a little bit after. A lot of us down Lich King together, which was a pretty cool event, and we kind of just bonded off of that, and we've been kind of gaming together ever since that. We've played a little bit of Star Wars online, Rift, a lot of League of Legends. Some of us are back trying out WoW, getting ready for patch 5.4 a little bit. And I know we're all looking forward to the new, well, most of us except Lee anyway, are looking forward to the new next-gen consoles, and we're going to be hitting those up pretty hard as well. So, and just like Shaq said, we're going to be talking about, our gaming, our opinions, our experiences in different games, as well as anything else nerdy as far as movies, tech news that comes out. We always keep track of that sort of stuff, whether it involves our games or maybe the latest 4K TVs or whatever it might be. So, next up is Keith.
Alrighty, my name's Keith. You can refer to me as Block. I'm not sure how they're gonna refer to me, but either one works. Met these guys whenever, my old guild quit, and they make fun of me because I did do the whole RP deal, RP PvP server. Yeah, it was awesome. They still make fun of me. Jokes on them though when Transmog came out. But other than that, they left me to go play some games. Yes, I did bring it up, guys. But they did keep in touch, and I do dabbled in WoW, did the Star Wars thing with them, and then when D3 came out, we hit that pretty hard. That was good, and then Shaq did leave shortly after. But other than that, I'll be talking about WoW with them probably, and one thing I didn't mention was D&D. I do some Pathfinder with some guys. We might be bringing that up from time to time. The guys I play with are a good group, and they've actually been playing for about 14, 15 years, and some of them were actually the owners and writers of Wizard of the Coast, so that's kind of cool. With that, I'll turn it over to Lee.
Well, hello, my name is Lee. I've known, unfortunately, Shaq and everybody else for a long period of time. No, I'm just playing. But I think I met Shaq through the International Man of Mystery, Joey, and then joined the guild, started raiding. I've quit WoW for about a year. I don't plan on going back. I know everybody, it seems like, I didn't even know. Actually, it's the first time I'm hearing y'all coming back to WoW. Then probably y'all know I'm anti it, but now, yeah, just really just a pro PC everything. I'm not really into consoles anymore, unless it's like PS2 or anything below that. Play a lot of Magic, and that's really about it. I mean, anything old school gaming wise, I love and kind of raised up on that. But yeah, that's really about it.
All right, so when you say PS2, man, I'm sure some of our viewers probably don't remember what that looks like. Can you tell us the old golden days of the PS2 era?
Oh man, the old golden of PS1, PS2, man. Some Metal Gear, some good times, man. it's nothing like now where it seems like it's just all graphic, and then they have amazing stories now, granted. But I mean, I'd rather play for 90 plus hours and have 90 plus hours of story and 10 minutes of gameplay. But maybe.
Let's go ahead and throw straight in that topic then. When it comes to the Xbox One and PS4, you're obviously not really interested. But if you had to get one, what would you get?
Well, I would probably have to go with the PlayStation. Because I'm not really a big Xbox fan unless it comes to Halo. Everything I've had a PlayStation. That was like the very first console I ever bought when I was able to buy with my own money. And it was a PlayStation 1 with Resident Evil. So I'm a big PlayStation fan. I actually own a PS3 because I got the first gen because it was backwards compatible. But
right.
Yeah, Xbox. I hear now that PS4 you have to pay for online services. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Y'all would know a little bit more about that than I would, but I've never been a big fan of play on someone's server and pay. That's why I like a lot of free. That's why I'm a PC person anyway. So. Yeah,
definitely. So what about you, Keith? I mean, are you leaning more towards PS4 or Xbox One, or are you kind of just gonna keep your PS3 and Xbox 360 for a while?
I'm on the fence on that one, mainly because I usually wait a couple of years for the see which one the bugs go out, like the Red Ring of Death that everybody loved with the 360.
Right.
Still have my original though, didn't have that yet, so I don't know, must be doing something good.
Yeah, I would trade that in tomorrow if I were you.
Yeah, it's one of those. I've actually been thinking about it since we've been talking, and I'll probably go with the PS4 just because. I mean, I am partial to I like the controller with the Xbox just because I've been playing Halo so much. But other than that, you just got to take the time down and learn how to do the controller for the PlayStation again. It's been a while, but I definitely like what the PS4 has to offer, and that whole eight controllers on the same TV thing. Not sure I'm digging that.
Right. So what he's talking about is Microsoft actually came out a few days ago and said that what makes their console better than the PS4 is that they can have 8 controllers in the same console, and Sony announced that they would only have 4. Is that really? I mean, I wrote an article about it the other day, but is that a game changer? Like, who's playing 8 people on the same TV anymore? I don't understand why they would think that's a huge upgrade.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, just imagine how small those darn screens are going to be for 8
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can only imagine 8 people. I have a 60-inch TV, and even 8 people on that, I'm just like, that's way too small. Like that TV would be way too small for that kind of activity. But back to you tips on the PS4 Xbox One argument. Where are you? I know where you're leaning, but tell us what you're leaning towards.
Like a lot of people, I haven't been real impressed with Xbox, kind of the way they've handled the launch. Obviously, everything from the price being $100 more and the Kinect being basically mandatory to, some of the games. I mean, other than Titanfall, I'm pretty sure is going to be a badass game. But besides that, I'm not really impressed with their lineup as far as exclusives, at least at launch. And just in general, I kind of get the sense that Sony learned from their mistakes last gen, and they're trying to fix those, whereas it's kind of like Microsoft's the opposite. They dominated the last go-round, and it seems like the decisions they're making are just kind of a little bit based off of that. Like, I think they kind of just thought they would waltz to the top, and they didn't really, take into consideration what gamers really wanted as far as, the whole idea they weren't going to allow you to trade out games, and they were just going to go with a DRM model instead. And like I said, the extra $100 price, the price for controllers is way more, and other peripherals like their headsets and stuff. I mean, basically, it just seems like they kind of just. I was reading an article today where they're actually not going to lose money on any of the consoles they sell, whereas like in previous releases, in both cases, they lost money for at least the first few years. I think for the entire life cycle of the original Xbox. But now they're not going to do that out of the gate. They're going to be making a profit off of every console. And I think it just kind of illustrates that they're kind of going for a money grab a little bit. And so that kind of turned me off a little bit. And but more than all that, really, is just the PS4 has impressed me with a little bit better specs, with a better RAM that they have. I mean, they both have 8 gig RAM, but it's the GDDR5 RAM that they have on the PlayStation, and a little bit, so possibly a little bit better top-end performance, and then, the $100 less price tag. And I think it seems like Sony is really trying to lure in the gamers that maybe they lost in last gen. PS1 and PS2 were amazing hits, and it's kind of seemed like PS3, they made some of the same mistakes that I think Xbox is making now, where they made it more expensive. They tried to just, tell people, hey, it's going to have all these extra features, so it's going to be better, so it'll be worth that extra price. And that never really, I mean, they did all right, but they obviously lost a console war to Xbox 360, and I think now you kind of see them flipping roles. So definitely PS4 is what I'm most excited about, which is a big flip for me. I just actually got a PS3 about a week ago for the first time. Up until this whole time, I've had a 360, so I'm kind of doing a 180. Hope that's not confusing, but I'm switching sides basically. I do have an Xbox One pre-ordered as well, but which is actually currently on eBay with a opening price or a reserve price of $6.99. If anyone's interested, you can email to the website and I can send you a link to the auction. But
so not to cut you off, but since you brought that up, there's actually an article today about how Microsoft came out and said that if you want an Xbox One, it's not going to be like the Xbox 360 fiasco where you can't find one for weeks. They're saying they're going to get these things out weekly. So I mean, do you think that's going to affect what you're doing, like trying to sell, like people who are trying to sell their Xbox Ones on eBay? Do you think less people are going to want to do that, but do you still feel like there's going to be that much of a grab for it on day one to where you can sell it?
I mean, right now there's people that are bidding over the MSRP to get them. So I mean, it looks like at least some people will. But I think I know what Microsoft's saying, but I mean, to be honest with you, I'm losing a lot of faith in them in general, and I wouldn't be surprised if every store had 2 consoles maybe on launch day. But I mean, that's not going to be any better than having none, really. So I could be wrong. I mean, maybe a big part of that might be the fact that they're not selling out. Their pre-order numbers maybe not been what they thought they were, so they might have kind of switched up their launch plans to account for that. But so I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I'm not too worried. I mean, worst case scenario, if you pre-ordered a Xbox One, you're not going to get stuck with it. You can get your money back out of it. So hopefully, though, I mean, I think what Microsoft needs to do is sometime next year, maybe come out with a bundle that either doesn't include the Kinect or that reduces the price in some way. And I think that will bring a lot more people in. I know I mean, I'd still like to have an Xbox One. I want to be able to play the Halos, the Fables, the Titanfalls. But I'm just not willing to pay the price out the gate that they're asking right now.
Right. No, I totally agree with you. So with the PS4 drops, you're definitely going to get one of those. Keith, you're kind of leaning more towards the PS4. With Lee, you're obviously sticking with the computer.
Yes, sir.
Now, with this little console race, there's also that one console, that one company that we all know that's usually in the front running, and that's Nintendo. But I mean, this year, obviously, they don't have a new system. The Wii U is doing horrible in sales. They just announced the release date for the new Zelda Wind Waker game, which is a remake of a game that came out almost 7 years ago for the GameCube. Their numbers, I mean, do y'all think Nintendo is just going to have to come out with a new console like within the next couple of years, or what do they do to fix this problem? Because they're obviously not moving forward with price cuts in the system, and the fact that new consoles are coming out in November. Is there any chance of them coming back?
I think they should do it like they did with Sega. Personally, I mean, I haven't bought a Nintendo system since Super. I just never. I mean, right when there's that whole time where Super, I played all the way up to PlayStation, and ever since then, like, I just never really cared. I mean, I had a GameCube from here and there. Like, I didn't have one, but I would go over and play one. Of course, I had a 64. I guess that's Nintendo, but I don't really count. I count them as 64. But I think now with like the Wii and the U is pretty bad. I think what they should do is what Sega did, to sell their rights. But I'm not a console guy, so what my opinion probably really doesn't hold any weight. But that's just me personally. Because if you could play, Mario with the same type of feel that Mario did on like PlayStation, I think it would be amazing. So.
Right, I actually agree with that 100%. What about you, Ken? Or Tips?
Yeah, I agree. At some point, if things got really bad, I think that is what they would do, because they do own some of the biggest franchises out there, Mario, Zelda, and so on. But I think right now, because they're so big still overseas, and I think even the point you made the other day when we were talking about this is that the Wii still moved a ton of units. So it's not like they're on the verge of bankruptcy or anything. So I don't think that's going to happen in the near term. And obviously, as long as they're going to try to have their own consoles, they're not going to go that route, because the day that they release and let Sony and Microsoft and whoever else, start porting games to Nintendo games to their consoles, that's the day they lose, because that's really all they have right now. Is the fact that if you want to play some of the franchises that have been around since the dawn of gaming, basically, you have to go to their console. So I do think at some point the guys like us that are a little bit older, who grew up on the Mario Karts and the Zeldas and the Ocarina of Time, we're getting older, and I don't know if they'll have as much of a hold on newer generations coming. Obviously they have a lot of stuff with Pokemon for the younger kids on the DSs, and things like that. So, the current generation right now, they're doing pretty well, but if they'd ever lose that hold, they could fade pretty quickly. So I think it's something to keep an eye on. And I actually just read an article this week where Bethesda came out and was talking about they feel like Nintendo, and I think they're absolutely right, just doesn't support third-party publishers. And that's the reason why they don't get a lot of the big games. Obviously Bethesda is behind Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online that's coming out, and none of those games are going to be on Wii U, and it's basically because Nintendo kind of has a our way or the highway mentality, and I think they kind of think they don't need any third party to survive. And I think in the long run, it's obviously they're not going to be able to be as successful as Sony and Microsoft with that kind of attitude.
Right, I also think Nintendo just underestimates when it comes to graphic power of your console. DICE actually came out and said a few months ago that there would never be like Battlefield on the Wii U, because it's almost like you're making a whole separate game to go back a generation. Like, why would you want to go back and play something that's not as pretty to look at, I guess you can say, like graphics wise? But it's Nintendo's, at the end of the day, it's got to be Nintendo's fault. They, like you said, they need to support AAA titles and truthfully just get more games out. That's my biggest thing is, this console's been out for almost 2 years now. I've had one for a year that I just don't play, because the last game we got was Pikmin 3, and I haven't even played that yet, to be completely honest with you. I'd rather spend $60 on a PlayStation 4 game than I would a Wii U game at this point. But what about you, Keith? What is your opinion on it?
Well, I'm not too familiar with the Wii U, but as far as the Wii goes, I know it's a little older, but how I see it is, PlayStation and Xbox, they kind of, to me, seem to target the people who are the younger generation that likes to play games, like under 25 or whatnot. I know some of us might be a little older than that, but that's what I like with the nice games that you dropped, Battlefield and Oblivion and all that. But the Wii, if you think about it, my parents never played video games until my brother got a Wii, and then my in-laws play the Wii because they just like the controller. The games are really, really simple. There's no graphics to them, but they're getting people to play games that never would have in a million years. Heck, my mom got dizzy playing Mario on the regular Nintendo with me, when I was a kid. So, the Wii brought her back into it. And, I think they might not be worried about so much the competing with the PS4 and the Xbox, because that might not be their target audience anymore.
So whenever you said your parents got into it, did that transition at all to the Wii U? Do you own a Wii U? Does your parents own one?
Yeah, see, that's the thing is none of us own a Wii U. When we moved out, the funny thing is they got an Xbox and a Kinect, and I was kind of upset because I was like, I lived with you guys for how long, and you never wanted to play games with me, and then you buy everything I just had.
That is funny. Now that you bring that up, like, I mean, with the Kinect, I mean, is it better than the Wii in your opinion? Like, would you rather use the Kinect because it's, I don't know, there's no controller that you can accidentally throw at your TV, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I know my parents love it. I like it. It's nice. The only bad part is you don't have a lot of space. Sometimes that kind of hampers the
Right.
effect. But, I mean, when we get together with family, we always do Wii bowling or Wii golf. It's like a tradition now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. With the Kinect, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of it, and now with the Xbox having the Kinect, I mean, that to me kind of turns off the Xbox One for me. With the Kinect, I never liked it. When I was watching Netflix, it would turn off from time to time. I would mute the TV for some reason. I just never could get into it. And then when Microsoft announced that you had to have the Kinect, I immediately went over to PlayStation 4. Like that sold me for some reason. I just refused to want it. And now that it's optional, I think I'm just gonna wait for the Xbox to announce a Connect free Xbox, which would drop the price, in my opinion, substantially to probably $400. And if that's the case, I'll be getting one whenever they announce that. But what about you guys? I mean, do y'all feel like the Kinect is a game changer for the Xbox One? Like, would you rather have it or rather not have it? Go ahead, Tips.
For me, I mean, the Wii, like, just as an example, I mean, like, the Wii stuff was cool, like Wii Sports. But, I mean, at the end of the day, all that motion stuff to me kind of is a little bit gimmicky. It's cool to try out. It's cool to, like, show your friends or your mom and dad, or maybe, and as I've got, a little daughter and another kid on the way, I mean, maybe my view on that might change a little bit if I can do stuff with, younger kids on a motion sensor, type peripheral. But as of right now, I mean, I think for people like Keith said, I mean, because Xbox is targeting kind of that middle, like the hardcore audience of gamers, the people from 12 to 25. I mean, I don't see how the Kinect really fits in with that, because people like that were more focused on, that new Battlefield, new Call of Duty, whatever, Grand Theft Auto. What do you need the Kinect for in those games? So, to me, it's just kind of like a little novelty toy, and so to have to pay an extra $100 just to get something that you're probably just gonna screw around with a few times. I mean, I don't see it.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. Lee, I know you're probably dying to get off the console topic, so we're actually going to change our topics a little bit. I think the PS4, to all of us, is going to be what we acquire first. I don't personally want to get an Xbox until the price goes down. Keith and Tess, I'm pretty sure you're all on the same page. We're going to go ahead and transition, though, and we're going to go with what we've been playing this week. And Tips, he did say earlier he got a PlayStation 3 for the first time in 6 years. So yeah, guys, I mean, he's got a lot to catch up on. The Uncharted series, obviously my game of the year, The Last of Us. So go ahead and tell us what you've been doing, Tips.
So for me, the big thing right now is the PS3. I kind of always wanted one, but being a family man, I can't just go out and buy any new console that comes around. And at the time, spending $500 or $600 for a PS3 was just a no-go, faux show. But now the price has dropped, and I actually bought one off of Craigslist, and got a good deal on it. And so now I'm kind of trying to catch up. Right now I'm playing Last of Us. I'm about a little over halfway through. Been really enjoying it. Obviously, it's a game everyone's been raving about this year, and I definitely recommend it to anybody. And if you want to get a taste of it, just go on YouTube and watch like the opening scene, which is about 10 or 15 minutes long. It's probably the most engaging first 10 minutes of a game I've ever seen. I played through it to the opening credits, and I was just instantly hooked, like your favorite movie or something like that, with that incredible opening scene that just hooks you in. That's what happened with that movie, that game. So definitely check that out. I've actually got Killzone 2 is on the way from good old GameFly right now off of my queue. I'm going to give that a shot and kind of get warmed up for the new Killzone that's coming out with the PS4. And then, the Uncharted series. I haven't really touched God of War. That's another one that I could probably look into. Even like games like Heavy Rain, I'm kind of curious about. I'd like to try out. I definitely noticed a big difference in the graphics going from, I had an original like 20 gig Xbox that didn't even have an HDMI output, and now playing a PS3 in full 1080, the graphics, I kind of feel like I made a next gen upgrade already, so pretty cool. And then other than that, like I said, I'm getting ready to maybe give a casual run at patch 5.4 in WoW, just to see, the game's changed a lot. I stopped playing at patch 5.1, wasn't real happy with the Miss of Pandaria and the way they set up dailies and stuff, so coming back and giving that a shot. That's basically it right now.
Yeah, definitely. So you're enjoying Last of Us. That's really good to hear. So Lee, you have been using Steam like a madman. How do you? What games have you been playing, my man?
Playing some Metro Last Light. I actually bought it for $20 because I'm cheap and I just wait for everything to go on Steam sale. But it's so far so amazing. I'm a very big fan of the Russian accent. I don't know why. It just sounds more hardcore to me.
Right.
So, and you get to kill Nazis of the Fourth Reich, which is, there was never a Fourth Reich, but it's cool. It's like because it's kind of like Fallout meets Metal Gear Solid in a first-person shooter.
Right.
Of course, Fallout's a FPS, but you still have that stealth element, unscrewing light bulbs, killing people silently, and you get to kill Nazis. So there's nothing really better than that. I actually been watching my roommate play this indie game it was actually featured on Netflix too. It's an indie game documentary. No one's ever seen it. It's on Netflix. It's really good. And they released Fez, which is a 2D, but it's like has a 3D element. You actually have to switch the camera, and there's a second four 2D like platforms. So you have to like solve puzzles, but it's all in 8-bit, which I'm a big old school console player, and I love the 8-bit element of it.
There's actually an interesting story behind Fez. Me and Tips actually had a discussion about this a couple of weeks ago. The guy who actually made that game, he just can't take criticism for some reason. And what had happened was he was on Twitter, and people were asking him about when the sequel was going to come out. Just give him a hard time about what's taking so long for Fez 2, so on and so forth. And he actually literally rage quit his job. Like he said, forget it, I'm not releasing Fez 2, you guys can go screw yourselves, and I quit. And nobody's, not that I know of, have heard of him, or had heard from him ever since. So I know Fez 1 was actually a really good game, it was really popular, sold quite a few copies, and now we might not get part 2, because like I said, he pretty much rage quit. I mean, I've never played Fez 1, so I've heard it's good, I've seen people play it, but it's crazy who would have pretty much one of our own dream jobs to sit there and make an indie game for S's and G's and just quit for a little bit of harsh criticism. I mean, that's crazy in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll chime in on that too, because I actually watched the same documentary you're talking about, Lee, and that's kind of what started our talk about, the guy's name's Phil Fish, I believe. Yeah. And he, but yeah, just like what Shaq said, I mean, he rage quit, and then, I mean, ever since then, I mean, no one's really heard from him. I mean, right around the same time this chemical war stuff started happening in Syria, so I don't know if he's involved with that at all, but it's possible. He's probably gonna rage if he ever hears this podcast for me saying that, but yeah, check it out. I think it's called Indie. Do you remember the name of that one, Lee? Actually,
I think it's called Indie Games, like the story. I'll look it up real fast. I saw it when it came out on Netflix, but.
Right. While he's looking at that, Keith, over to you, man. What have you been playing? Obviously some WoW. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about what you've been doing.
Nah, dude, I'm not playing WoW. What are you talking about? Nah, I've been playing that pretty steady. That's probably what I played with most since a couple of the guys at work started playing again. Now they're trying to rope me in. But other than that, I've been doing some Borderlands 2 and some was it Skyrim, and just makes me miss Oblivion. So
Oh yeah.
kind of quit that pretty quick.
So what's better, Oblivion or Skyrim?
Oh, let's not get in this.
I like myself. So
What was that, Keith?
I like Oblivion myself.
Oh.
Huh, very interesting. I loved Oblivion because I live on the coast, and that was actually, after Hurricane Katrina, I had lost pretty much every console. I think Lee's in the same situation where we didn't have, whatever collectibles we had lost in Katrina.
I lost over 200 Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, he lost a shit ton. I lost probably every console from the PlayStation 2 backwards, and it just so happened to be the year Katrina hit, the Xbox 360 was launching, and that was the first console I had actually gotten, and Oblivion just happened to be the first game I played on that console. So that brings back a lot of memories for me. That's literally the only game I played for about 2 months. And to me, it's better than Skyrim, but I don't know if Lee agrees.
Oh, I think Morrowind's the best, but I mean,
old school. All right.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I love Skyrim. I got the Legacy or Legendary Edition. Sorry.
Right.
When it came out, I actually bought it like the same day, and because I never got all the DLC for it, but
right. Oh, it's a great deal too. I mean, you get all the DLC. I think it's still $60. For people who are watching this on Saturday when we release it, you can get all the DLC for Skyrim on Xbox Live for half off. But I mean, it's definitely worth it. Every single DLC for it is amazing. Skyrim is a great game, but Oblivion kind of beats it by a little bit for me. So what else, Keith? You said you played some Borderlands 2. I know Sony just announced that they're putting Borderlands 2 on the PS Vita. I don't know if you're interested in one of those.
I don't know what the PS Vita is yet. I'm a little behind with school and work all the time.
Right.
But yeah, the only bad part about that one for me was none of my friends got it, that I know of on Xbox anyways, or like, obviously it's on Xbox.
You get it for PC.
But nobody was playing at the same time I was playing, so I kind of got stuck in a couple things. It just wasn't as fun because it was definitely multiplayer intended.
Right. It's definitely one of those games where you want to play with other people you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I got to play a little bit with my one of my brother-in-laws. That was nice. But other than that, just kind of fell to the wayside because I got tired of hitting a wall by myself. So that kind of sucked.
Well, if you ever want to start up again, let me know because I play that game on a regular basis.
Oh, definitely, man.
Definitely. But I play on PC, so you might need to make another purchase.
Yeah, see, that was the other problem too. Is like a couple of other people I was playing with, they just didn't want to leave Borderlands 1 for I guess they put so much time in it. So it was one of those where it was like, God,
the people you hang out with, Keith, is so random. Like, I really don't want to play part 2 because I've invested so much time in part 1. What are they doing in part 1? Like, are they?
How did they ever get past Super NES? Like, I mean,
living off their pistol, man. Come on.
That's like when the new Super Mario game comes out. You're like, nah, man, I'm still rocking Super Mario Brothers 3.
Dude, I just got the raccoon suit.
I get those stars, man. I get those stars.
Exactly. That is crazy. And this is all, like, people who are listening, this is all his friends. Like, they will just do some of the most randomest things. He literally told me that one of his friends, like, came back to WoW in 5.3 and tried to heal as a Shadow Priest. And if you know anything about World of Warcraft, like, he thinks
you vanilla?
Yeah, exactly.
He hadn't played since vanilla, and he came back and tried to.
He quickly learned.
So for the guy who is listening, that's one of Keith's friends who is doing this. No offense, but come on, stop playing Borderlands 1. Get your ass over to Borderlands 2 because it, to me, is a far better game.
And you get to play Psycho. You get to play Craig the Psycho, which is amazing.
Yeah, you get to play Psycho. The last DLC for that game, the Tiny Tina's Castle or whatever, that expansion was
amazing.
It was actually really, really good. It was based on a D&D game, and it was awesome. So Keith, if you still have it for 360, I still have it for the 360. So one day, whenever you get some free time, we should definitely hit that up because that game is actually extremely good. Or for the PC, I don't care either way.
360, definitely.
Oh, I see how it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Alright, I just want to try it again.
We just don't have the. Well, first of all, I know for the PC, the game is actually, if you turn the graphics way up, I mean, Lee, you could probably tell us, the game looks gorgeous. It doesn't compare anything to the Xbox 360 version.
Not at all.
So that is one bad thing about PC gaming, and that's actually another good topic. Like, the reason why I love PC gaming, don't get me wrong, I love MMOs, but just the upkeep of a PC, in my personal experiences, are just extremely expensive. Yeah, extremely expensive. So that's one reason why I'm looking forward to these new consoles, because they're not better than any high-end PC, but then again, I'm not spending $3,000 on a high-end PC to play the games I want to play. And now with more MMOs coming to the next gen, I mean, in my opinion, it's the best way to go for the best bang for your buck. You know, if you want to enjoy your MMOs, like see Elder Scrolls, Destiny, or The Division, I mean, it's for cheaper price. In my opinion, that's the way to go. What do you guys think?
That's true. I mean, you're totally right, because in about 2 weeks, I actually have a Sapphire Radeon 7990 coming. So, and it cost me about $700. So
very nice, sir.
Yeah. So, I mean, because it's all these, it's consoles coming up, and then I don't want to hear all the console people be like, "Oh, this is better." So I had to fork out the money and power supply and all that good stuff. So.
Right. See, I wish I could just throw the obviously you're not a rich person by any means. You've probably been saving up for a while for it, but to throw $700 away at something like that, and not even have a game to show for it. I mean, to me, the PC market is just so expensive. But then again, if you pay what you get for it, you're going to get a better graphics, you're going to get better loading times, better speeds. I mean,
yeah, true. And I don't know. It's a simple fact that it's like technically whatever I want in it happens. If I want to put this, or I don't like that, or because it's not cookie cutter like spec. I mean, of course you can get a cookie cutter spec, PC, which I mean, anybody could get. But I mean, I think it's more, since gaming's a major hobby, and major part of my life, might as well have the best system that is such, that can put out the power that is, there, I guess.
Right. No, I totally agree. Trust me, the second I get a career going, that's the first thing I'm going to do is probably get rid of console gaming altogether and just upgrade my PC every year. But until then, I like the fact that on November 15th, I can go to GameStop where I pre-ordered my PlayStation 4, get a PlayStation 4 and get 3 games for it and spend less than $600.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I think, I'm like Lee. I mean, gaming's my hobby, so if your hobby is cars, you want to have the fastest car you can get. If your hobby is golf, you want to get the nicest set of golf clubs. But I lean more towards Shaq. I mean, it's hard for me to justify spending the extra money when you can buy a cookie cutter. And I think a console. I think one of the things you miss out on too I guess it kind of goes both ways, but with PC, you're missing out on a lot of the console exclusives. And in a lot of cases, even if it's not an exclusive, you may not get it on PC for a while. Like, let's say GTA, as far as I know, it's not even announced yet when that's coming out for PC. So, I mean, there is a downside. And then the other thing, the biggest complaint, I know Shaq will agree with me on this, is that it's not, the platform itself is not as reliable as a console. I mean, there has been the red rings of death and things like that in the past, but for the most part, like, whether it's just all of the installing and little errors and problems that you have with PC games, or it's your RAM going out or your graphics card, or it just seems like it's a lot more high maintenance basically, where with a console game, you just drop the disc in and you go, and you never think twice about where you installed it or, any of that kind of stuff. So,
and just the fact that whenever a console, I know nothing about PCs. I do call myself a nerd. I do everything nerdy, but when it comes to actually the technical part of PCs, I don't know anything. Like, I know how to plug it in and turn it on, and that's about it. So when this thing goes out, I've got to go find a computer shop to go and take it to, just for them to look at. It's like $50. And then once they tell me what's wrong with it, it could be the graphics card issue, and the graphics card's going to run you another $200. Once by the time you do all that, like I would almost rather have an Xbox 360 for 2 years and then it red ring on me, and I'd be like, all right, it's broken. I'm done with it. I'll just take it to GameStop because they do take red ring consoles, and I'll just trade it towards another one and spend the $300 and buy a new one.
Well, I mean, it kind of like I understand the theory, but it's kind of like people with cars. I mean, you could build your own car, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen someone build their own car, but something goes wrong with it. You're like, oh shit, well, it could be this or this. I got to take it to the mechanic because I don't know what's going on with it.
Right.
Or you could just go ahead and buy a car straight from the dealership, and you get a warranty. So I think there's just a little bit. It's kind of like the hobby thing, I think, and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
No, I totally agree with that 100%. Like, you love gaming and that's what you want to do, and if you want to spend the money on it, I mean there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like I said, if I had the extra cash laying around, I would definitely probably just ignore the consoles altogether. I mean, like Tips did bring up a good point where about the exclusives. Yeah, we would definitely want that because I don't even think the Division's coming to PC. I could be wrong, but if that doesn't come to PC, I mean, that game looks amazing. And I cannot wait for that game.
Yeah, I mean, up until now, a lot of the console stuff was missing out on exclusives in terms of, like, for example, a lot of the MMOs were exclusive to PC. Now it seems like they're getting away from that and do a lot more cross-platform stuff for, the big PC titles.
Like Diablo? Like what Diablo did?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, that's kind of, it seems like from that point now, kind of consoles are winning out in that regard. But even if you buy one console, you're not getting all the exclusives. So, I mean, the ideal situation, I mean, there's kind of pros and cons for going console, going computer. The ideal situation is to have like a $3,000 computer, both consoles, and then you're golden. I mean, that's.
I think we all want that.
Gaming nirvana right there.
We basically, every 6 years, we need, let's like, $10,000 to appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because you obviously have to have like a badass monitor and a 4K TV as well, just to hook it all up to.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's another thing too is 4K. I mean, that's right around the corner. A lot of people don't even know about it. Like my parents don't know anything about it. A lot of my friends don't even know anything about it. 4K TV is, if you ever see one in person, will blow you away. So what do you like? I know it's what you were saying earlier about a HDMI cord that came out. This is kind of like our tech part of the podcast. What do you think of the new 4K TVs? And do you think it's going to be? Do you think everybody will have it in their living room faster than we had a 1080p, or do you think it's just going to be one of those things that slowly trickles into everybody's living room before it's even a big thing?
Yeah, I think it'll go. I mean, price-wise, I think it's going to proceed about the same. Like right now, obviously they're out of reach for almost anyone. They're, I think a 55-inch will run you around $6,000 or $7,000 right now. Within the next 2 years, that price will come down to the $2,000 to $3,000 range, where people will start buying it. The early adopters, people maybe like me and you, who want to have the latest and greatest. But I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit slower because they don't have. They had a little bit of a problem when HDTV came on, convincing people to switch to it, because you had people that would literally walk into Best Buy, and I used to work there, and would say, I don't see a difference between high def and standard def, and they're looking at them side by side, and which is obviously ridiculous. So
right.
I mean, it's going to be even more so, I think, with the 1080p to 4K, because 1080p does look good. I mean, it really does, and so you're going to have a lot of people making that same argument. So I think early on it's just going to be for the film buffs, the people who are really crazy about their, if NFL starts broadcasting in 4K, the sport nuts they'll start getting in, and then gamers, as PS4 and Xbox One start rolling out 4K games, people are going to definitely start buying them. But I do think in the long run, from what I've seen, the different, like there's already broadcasters. I know over in Britain, the Sky station they have over there is one of their big channels, has already done some tests on broadcasting soccer games in 4K and stuff. So it's one of those things that I think the TV and the like Hollywood industry are going to adopt it. So once that happens, it's going to eventually trickle down to everybody. It's just a matter of time. I think because like 3D, to me, that kind of failed. It's pretty obvious. No one, very few people adopted it, and from what I can tell, it's losing momentum pretty much daily. So I don't think that's going to be a new standard, although I do think all the 4K TVs are going to be able to do it. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of 3D content coming out like on TV. But it looks like for 4K there definitely will be. I know across the board, 4K cameras, video cameras are just, I mean, they're coming out. I just read an article today. Sony just came out with a Pro 4K camera, and it's only like $6,500, which, if you don't know much about Pro cameras, I mean, that's a Pro camera. A lot of times will run you $25,000 and up. So they're already dropping the price on the cameras. So it's just all the more content that's going to be out there in 4K. So it's definitely going to come around. And like you said, with the HDMI 2.0, they just announced new specs for that. That's basically going to make it possible to transfer, that 4K content from your cable box or your Blu-ray player to your TV with no problems. So looks like it's definitely happening. So I think that'll be awesome. So.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you on that one. And one aspect I know that will catch on, might be a little bit behind years-wise, is the medical field, because they will, docs will eat that up. I mean, if they can get a better picture, oh man, they'll spend whatever they need to spend to get that nice little picture going on. I definitely think that'll at least take off in the medical field.
Yeah, and I had a chance to go and look at a 4K TV already at Sony at a Best Buy over here by me, and it's definitely noticeable. I mean, you can tell a big difference between the 4K and 1080. I mean, obviously, with that extra resolution, the detail is just, and the clarity of the picture are just extremely better. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who will tell you that it doesn't really matter unless you're sitting pretty close to the screen, when it comes to that high of resolution. And that is true. The further away you get, the harder it'll be to tell the difference. But we were sitting on a couch that was 6 feet from the TV, and it was extremely noticeable, the difference in quality. So I think it'll definitely catch on.
And it's such a high jump from 1080 to 4K. I mean, it's not like the days where it was like, okay, here's 400 resolution compared to 720 and then 1080. It's like,
right,
you're literally jumping 4 times. I mean, the resolution. So I can understand how people are saying it doesn't really make a difference whenever you're far away, but man, could you imagine PC gaming? I mean, Lee should be jumping in his shoes right now, because PC gaming is going to change, in my opinion.
Oh man, I'm waiting for them to come out with like 14-inch monitors with fucking that.
14. I mean, you're going to want like a 24-inch 4K monitor, dude. I mean, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, I can't wait actually. So
that's going to be. I did see there's actually a big YouTuber who actually got a 4K monitor. The only bad thing is he needed 4 of the. I think he actually had Titan graphics cards. He needed 4 of them to actually get it to the highest settings.
Yeah.
So gaming wise, we won't see this thing for.
Oh wow.
Probably 5 to 7, maybe even 8 years from now. Just because it's not the fact that they can't do it, you can't produce it, but gaming industry cannot spend a lot of money on something that nobody has right away.
Oh,
so
okay.
We're not going to be seeing it for a while, but dude, when we do see it, it's going to be amazing. The PC gaming might come back and just take over forever.
Yeah, I think it will get easier as time goes on, because right now there's a couple of new video compression specs coming out for basically targeted towards 4K, where they'll be able to lower the bit rate and still produce the 4K at really good quality, like H.265, or I think the other one's like XAVC. And once those are fully standardized and rolled out, I think you'll be able to see that you're going to have better hardware than what you have now, but you won't have to have 4 Titan cards to be able to do it. It's just the fact that everything's trying to catch up to, honestly, the capabilities to do 4K has come out before some of the tools have come out to really support it. So I think that'll get easier as time goes on.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. All right, guys. So y'all ready for the movie portion? Some of the nerdy movies that are coming out?
Oh, yes. I think we should save Robocop for last, I'm just going to say, because I have a feeling that's going to be the breadwinner.
Alrighty, guys. We're going to start off with the big news. It's not recent news, but we do know the new Batman, who it's going to be in the new Batman vs. Superman movie. And it's Ben Affleck. I mean, Lee, you're the DC nerd over here. Tips, we're gonna go ahead and let Lee go and see what his opinion is.
Ben Affleck, I mean, he did such a good job with Daredevil. And,
yeah. Is that one of your favorites?
Dude, Daredevil is, because the Elektra, I don't even know, like, it's kind of like I blacked out and forgot about it, like a kid that, like, suffered severe trauma. Because, like, seeing, like, Elektra and Daredevil, I mean, I'm not really a good Marvel buff, but I still saw it because it's a comic book movie, and I was like, yeah, it's Daredevil. It'd be kind of cool. Red's, one of my favorite colors. Might as well. And it was really horrible. That's actually the first time I've ever wanted a refund, besides episode 1, from the movie theater.
Really?
So, yeah, I really don't know how that's going to go. I can't see him acting without Matt Damon. Every time I see him, I always think he's like a Boston street tough. Like, I just, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. But, of course, everybody said that with, Brokeback Mountain and Heath Ledger.
Right.
So it could either go both ways, but as it stands now, I say nay. I mean, I'm just not a big fan of that. I don't think his acting skills are up to par, with the whole Batman aspect. I can't see him, punching Penguin or even holding a candle to Superman as Ben Affleck. So,
yeah, I'm with you on that one. Go ahead, Tess. What do you think? I mean, Ben Affleck is obviously one of your favorite actors of all time.
Now wait, is Ben Affleck the blonde gay one or the brunette gay one who has a beard? And by a beard, I mean Jennifer Garner.
If you just look to your right, he's actually on your wall, the poster you got.
Like a sweet bearskin rug.
Let me throw this out to Lee. Will Ben Affleck be better or worse than Christian Bale?
I wish Michael Keaton. And Michael Keaton is actually going to go on the Robocop because I can't spoil any of that because I almost crapped myself. But I don't know. Like, Christian Bale did a really good Bruce Wayne, and if Michael Keaton had the same kind of technology as it is now, like with a bat suit and it being, I think he would make an excellent Batman. So if they could just mix that, I'm not sure. Let's do this, Hollywood. Let's rock it. Mm-hmm. I'll give you $5 is all I could afford now if y'all do that.
So you want Keaton back? Is that what you're saying?
I do want Keaton back. Keaton wasn't amazing.
Oh boy! All right, Keith. Well, go ahead.
Well, this is my take on it. I mean, he's got the chin for it. I mean, really, you put the mask on. He's got the chin going on. I mean, come on. I don't know. I give him a shot. I think he's too goofy, or whatnot for a serious Batman. But that's me.
I think the thing I was most disappointed about was the fact that, from the comic books, and I'm not a huge comic book buff like Lee and Shaq are, but what they've told me, obviously the Batman versus Superman at that time, Batman's supposed to be a lot older. And really, Ben Affleck's basically the same age as Christian Bale, and I just kind of expected a gray hair version. So that's just my.
I still think they should get Daniel Day-Lewis to do it.
Yeah,
I'd rather have Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, I don't think he would do it. But.
Yeah, I'd rather have him. And
they could have got old Clooney back.
Dude, no. Batman doesn't deserve nipples. Let's not get back into that, please.
Alright, so Ben Affleck, I mean, like I said, you can't really judge it before it comes out, but it's Ben Affleck. I mean, I don't know. Everything he's acted in, he's kind of like, he's got something about him that just doesn't fit superhero. I mean, obviously, the superhero movie he did was just a total flop. And ever since then, it's just like, I never want to see him in any other thing, like any other superhero movie ever. But I guess we'll just have to live with it. I mean, he is playing a role with, is it Sable? How you pronounce his last name? The guy who played Superman? Or Cable?
Yeah.
Cable? Alright. So I mean, he did a great job with Superman, so I think he can kind of carry him a little bit, when it comes to the superhero aspect. But Bruce Wayne, I think he'll play a really good Bruce Wayne. I mean, he seems like he is a cocky, like, rich guy in real life. That's what I get from seeing Ben Affleck. So I think he'll have that part down pat. It's just the whole, I'm Batman. Like, I just don't see him doing that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, the other big announcement with the same movie was the villain, Lex Luthor, being Bryan Cranston. Lee, go ahead. What were your thoughts?
No, I mean, any Lex that is not Kevin Spacey, I'm fine with.
Kevin Spacey might be the best Lex we've ever had.
Yeah, let's not say that ever again.
The whole Cranston thing, I just started watching Breaking Bad, so I'm just kind of getting into that whole thing, and I was really down for it before I started watching Breaking Bad. Now that I've started watching Breaking Bad, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's one of those roles that he's played so good at that he can never play anything else, and you take him as a different character. It's kind of like watching I don't know,
Hugh
like,
Jackman?
What's that?
Hugh Jackman? Wolverine?
Yeah, I guess you could say Hugh Jackman. I was thinking more like, the guy who played Harry Potter. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe, is that what it was?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I never see him playing anything else ever again.
Right.
Like, he's Harry Potter and that's all he'll ever be. And after watching Breaking Bad, like, I cannot get Walter White out of my head. Because he's going to be basically the same, not same role, but the whole same outfit. Like, he's going to have the bald head, probably the goatee going on. Except for he'll be wearing suits. I mean, it's just going to be...
Yeah.
It'll be kind of weird.
And Lex is one of my favorite supervillains.
Right.
So I'm really gonna be like I was same thing with Heath Ledger, because Joker's so amazing, and he did a really good job. But like I'm gonna be like eyeballing it, with like a monocle. Like I have to, make sure that he's doing it right, because Lex makes Superman, and Superman makes Lex. So
right.
It's gonna kind of...
They've got to make it to where he can outsmart basically Superman. What I think is going to happen is, the movie's going to start off with, Batman's going to be, for some reason, thinking that Superman's a bad guy, and they're going to start going at it. And then the only way this movie can work is if they both have a common enemy. And I'm assuming that common enemy is either going to be Lex Luthor. I don't know who else they could bring in the game this early. They obviously can't do Doomsday right off the bat, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know why. If they brought Doomsday in, that'd be kind of weird for the second movie for Superman. I don't know. Who else do you think could come in there, Lee? Like,
I really want to see Darkseid, to tell you the truth, but
right.
He's a god. That'd be kind of hard, because then you got to put the four females. I forget what they're called.
Right.
And then you got to do the actual planet, the apocalypse that he lives on, and
there's a lot of setting up for this. I mean, they're obviously wanting to compete with the Avengers franchise. They've got to get everybody's movies together. They got to get a Wonder Woman out there, a Flash. They have to redo Green Lantern because, good God, that movie was horrible. I don't know. They have to bring in somebody big, but not bigger than the Justice League villain. Like, I feel like Doomsday would be it, or like you said, Darkseid would have to be a Justice League, because you can't just have a Superman versus, especially before you bring Lex into the whole thing. I think Lex is a must. You have to bring him in early.
And Lex is always the mastermind. Like, it's kind of hard because Lex is, what Joker is to Batman. That's him.
Right.
So
the Joker literally has nothing. Like, he could die from a bullet to the face, or Batman could punch him too hard. But it's just the fact that he outsmarts him in every situation. Like, he's there to play mind games, and that's what Lex does. I mean, obviously Superman could go to Lex and, beat the shit out of him on the side of the street, but Lex would never let that happen because he outsmarts Superman in every move.
Oh yeah. I think they should. Who's that Krypton robot? Or the Kryptonite robot? He always has Kryptonite in his stomach, or in his little chest piece.
I'm not sure.
He shapeshifts into other people, with skin. I forget his name, but I think he would be a good side villain. What's that?
Metallo?
I think that might be. I'm not sure. I gotta look it up. I'm not a big Superman person. I'm more a Flash, but I think they should bring him in. He'd be a good side villain, like how Scarecrow was in the first Batman Begins.
Right.
So I think that would be a good kind of support villain to Lex.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Maybe because did they end up killing Fiora from that Superman reboot? I didn't see that. Because he obviously killed Zod. I don't know if Feora got away.
I don't remember. Actually, I'm just waiting for it to come out on DVD.
Yeah, when that DVD comes out, I'm getting that on Blu-ray for sure. I can't remember. Tibbs actually never saw it, I don't think.
Yeah, you guys ruined it for me. I didn't know Zod died. Thanks a lot.
Oh, shut up.
And no, I can't watch it.
Spoiler alert, I guess. Yeah, I'll put that at the beginning of this section. Jeez.
All right, sorry. Zod, something happened to him. All right, Keith, what is your opinion on the Ben Affleck situation?
Oh, you mean the other guy?
Oh yeah, Cranston. Sorry,
Cranston. I think it'll be good, honestly. With the whole Breaking Bad thing, I think people forgot that he was Malcolm in the Middle was that goofy guy for a long time.
That is true.
And I think he's gonna do awesome. He just definitely the Breaking Bad will probably show through. But I think he's gonna do a great job.
I know he played. Cranston just got done not too long ago playing the main villain, like the general or the totalitarian president or whatever in Total Recall reboot with Colin Farrell, and so he was kind of that villain in that as well, and he actually had hair, he wasn't bald.
Very nice. I did not recognize him. I actually literally just watched that movie probably a month ago, and now that you say that, I did notice.
Yeah, you were too busy looking at Jessica Biel and Kate Beckinsale. I understand.
That is a good point.
So, I mean, I think maybe that's kind of where they're going with it. They saw that and they thought, okay, they're just playing a villain. I mean, for me though, Shaq, we had this conversation. I was just like, not impressed because, like, if you'd have walked up to me or any Joe Blow on the street and said, okay, they're casting for a new Lex Luthor, who's the first person that comes to mind? I'd be thinking, okay, Lex Luthor, bald guy, he needs to be able to play a villain. Oh, I know that guy from Breaking Bad. And I feel like that's how they cast it. And then obviously with, like Keith said, with Affleck, they probably just had him put the bat mask on one time. They're like, oh, look at his chin. Okay, you're Batman. Like, I feel like that's how they're casting, and boom, they were done. So, I mean, I haven't even seen Man of Steel, so I can't, judge the whole series, but...
Well, that's another thing. Are they rushing this series too fast to catch up to Marvel? Like, a lot of people are making the argument, like, why would you bring Batman in this early? Superman needs another movie, because... spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, just skip forward 2 minutes. But basically, the whole first movie was how he landed on Earth. Kind of gave the backstory of Krypton, how it got destroyed, who Zod was, why he was so angry, and basically, I mean, Superman didn't wear the suit for more than in the movie wise, probably more than a week. I mean, he literally just became Superman. So. It's kind of one of those things, shouldn't there be a part 2 that goes to the next level of this is what he's doing now? Like, here's Lex, and just keep Batman out of it, and then for part 3, maybe make a Batman versus Superman? Do you think they're just rushing it to catch up, or this is where Snyder really wanted to go with it?
Oh, you're talking about Man of Steel, right?
Yeah, Man of Steel. Sorry if I said Superman or anything like that.
I thought they were doing a Man of Steel too.
All right, so Keith definitely doesn't know what the hell's going on in the world. Lee, up to you.
Okay, I think you're right because Iron Man 2 came out, and it was kind of like the first Iron Man set up on how Tony became Iron Man.
Right.
Second one had his very first main villain, which was Whiplash, and then it was. But I mean, you still had the hint, with Incredible Hulk that they're making a movie. But of course, Iron Man I think is probably the main person, on the whole Avengers team. So I totally agree with you. That actually is a good valid point, unless somehow they make it into the story on where, he's been fighting all these villains, he's been doing this, but not, fast forward, 30 years where Superman or Batman's old, and all of a sudden just fighting each other.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think they're going to take that part from the Dark Knight Returns series. I think, obviously, Ben Affleck's not going to be old. I think they're just going to make it to where it's just going to be... If they make it to where it kind of follows a book, maybe, the government doesn't trust the new Superman, and maybe they're just trying to hey, we got to get rid of Superman, so they call up Batman and it's like, hey, can you do something about the problem? So on and so forth. So I don't think it's going to be that far into the future, but I also just don't understand why they wouldn't do a little bit more not backstory, because we got enough backstory in Man of Steel to cover it, but there needs to be, like, what's up with him and Lois. I mean, that, a lot of people don't care about that, but I mean, that's a big thing. Because we don't really know anything about the new Lois, to tell you the truth. Jimmy Olsen is nowhere to be seen, but the girl who is in Man of Steel, apparently his name is Jenny Olsen, and they apparently made him into a female character, which is really weird, but we don't know anything about him. We don't know anything about Perry. We don't even know how long he's been working at the Daily Planet. So there's a lot of questions that I have for the next movie, and hopefully before the movie starts, we don't just see Batman and Superman like going at it, or because another thing too is we had to figure out what this Batman's been doing. Like, is he
a whole separate universe? Yeah.
I mean, it's the same universe, but it's a different character. Like, we don't know anything about this Bruce Wayne. Like, is he already Batman, or is he starting to become Batman? Who is he trained by? How did he become Batman? So I'm thinking the first 30 to 45 minutes of this movie is going to be all about Batman. So maybe I just feel like they're going too fast with it. They needed to do the Avengers did it perfectly. You know, you bring out Iron Man 2 drops, and then you have Thor, Captain America movie. It came out perfectly.
Yeah.
I just don't think they trusted Ben Affleck to do a movie by himself.
Who would?
That's very true, but I just don't think I mean, obviously Christian Bale did an amazing job with that trilogy. It wasn't the best Batman. Am I right, Sips? But
yeah. Well, we'll save that for another podcast. That's a whole nother discussion. I need to see Man of Steel first, and then we'll have that discussion, because I can't bash it without actually having watched it.
Yeah, I didn't go see Man of Steel. That kind of disappointed me, because that's all we talked about.
It's because I have no friends, but that's fine.
Back to Keith. Keith, the Man of Steel 2 is.
Yeah, I know. I'm Googling stuff. I'm sorry. It was a different picture.
You are crazy, man. Like, so Batman versus Superman is a new thing coming out. And I can only assume that they're going to have a Man of Steel 2 after this movie, because there has to be something before the Avengers. They can't just come out with Justice League. I mean, the way it's going, we won't see Justice League until 2018 if we're lucky. So, because we don't even have a Flash set. We don't have a Wonder Woman set. I mean, Princess Diana. I mean, there's going to be so much backstory they're going to have to do to catch up.
Did you say Princess Diana?
Yeah, that's what I was. What?
Yeah, because that's Diana's name from Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's her name. The Amazonian princess.
Did she die in a car accident, or how's that?
Oh, okay. All right.
See, that's what I thought we were talking about. You're confusing me, man.
We have some funny guys around here.
I know.
What year?
Anyways, does anybody want to put anything else on the DC is kind of moving a little too fast for their own good?
We'll see. That's the only thing I have to say.
Right.
Well, they do have this new movie coming out with Kate Middleton. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Oh, is that the Princess Diana movie? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to see his chin. That's all I want to see. How he wears a Batman mask.
Am I the one that thinks Keith has a crush on Ben Affleck? Can we see a quick show of hands, quick vote?
Yeah, semi-chub on him.
Guess what? New surprises come out is Matt Damon's going to be Batboy or Robin. There you
Robin, yes. That would be funny, which I would not be surprised, because whatever Ben Affleck does, Matt Damon is like literally right behind him on everything.
Okay, well, next subject.
Just take that how you wish. Alright, so now we're going to say Robocop for last, but Ender's Game. I know me and Keith and Tips have a lot of time invested in the series. Lee, I'm sure if you read the book, you would love it.
Yes, but now the movie's coming out, so you can watch that.
It's like the second time I've heard of it in the last 2 hours, so I'm not going to say anything.
No, that's fine, man. It's a really, really good book if you ever get a chance to read it. The movie, you have to go watch. I mean, I think even new people to the series would really enjoy the movie, because the story is actually really good. But, Keith, going to start off with you, because you didn't know anything about Batman and Superman. You're just going to go ahead and tell us what you're wanting from the movie.
I've been looking forward to this movie for a long, long time. I got excited in 2000 when they said they were going to do it, and then it fell through.
So when you were 12?
12.
Hey-o.
I might have been 12 actually. But yeah, I was excited. They were talking about doing it. Didn't work out, but no, I hope they don't change a ton and they stick to the book. But then again, I don't know how they're gonna do that the whole way, just because it seems like a lot of stuff goes on that a movie can't give you.
Right.
But from the previews, the biggest thing for me I was excited about was to see how the heck that game worked. That's me. I hope they do a couple
The
really
game
good.
room?
Oh yeah, the game room. Yeah, sorry, that's what I mean. I know some people might not know what that means, but yeah, the game room. I'm excited to see how that works and how they, how the other games, I'll leave it at that, work later on in the book anyways. I hope they don't ruin it, basically, is my expectation. I just really hope they don't ruin it.
Right. And if you had to like rate the book, I mean, is it one of your favorites probably, or?
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of my favorite books. I read all the series, including the Shadow series, which is from a different character, same book, same story, just different character's point of view. Thought it was very well done. Definitely one of my all-time favorite books.
Very nice. All right, Tips. So what are you expecting from this movie? Are you excited as Keith is, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just agree with, I mean, like Keith said, I mean, it's an amazing series. I mean, outside of the Star Wars universe, it's probably my favorite science fiction story. It's that good. If you haven't read the book, it's probably worth going and getting right now. So, I mean, it's really long overdue. I know I've read some interviews in the past with the author, Orson Scott Card, that he said, that he's even considered having it, turned into a game in the past and stuff, and they just never really found it, I guess, the right group to do it. And he's kind of been really, I think, picky, because the book's been out since, like the 70s. So,
Right.
I mean, he's kind of waited. So, I mean, I feel like it's going to be good because I don't think he would sign off on a script that he didn't like. And obviously with people like Harrison Ford playing one of the main characters, that kind of lends a little quality to it when you attach his name. So I don't really know much about the director. I know he directed X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's about it. So hopefully he knows what he's doing. But I think they'll change a few things. Obviously, in the books, Ender's quite a bit younger than what they're portraying him in the movie. I think in the books he's more like 6 or 7 years old when it starts.
Which would be really hard to portray in a movie nowadays.
Right, and really from a sci-fi standpoint, that was probably the most hard to believe part of it because there's some stuff that happens early on in the book before he joins the academy that really doesn't make sense for a first grader to even do, but even as a genius or whatever. But I think actually they'll probably improve things to an extent.
Well, I just think in today's like social image, like you couldn't have 6-year-olds do that anyways, because people would kind of be like on an outrage in a way. With people nowadays, it's like if you have anything in a movie that's just inappropriate, like people will just won't even go. They'll boycott the movie, and the movie won't make money. Therefore, we won't see sequels. So why not just make everybody happy right off the bat?
Right. So yeah, but I'm super excited about it. I hope they do it right. I mean, there's been a lot of movies lately where there's, anytime you're starting a franchise with young people, like whether it was the Harry Potter series or Hunger Games, they're unknown people. We don't know if they're good actors, bad. They could be Hayden Christensen for all we know. You know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully the casting's good. And like he said, the big thing that kind of sold it on me was seeing the game room. Obviously, they're going to spend time on that because that's
90% of the book.
Right.
The game room is, for everybody who's read Ender's Game, is basically the training grounds of these children. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it's where most of the book takes place, and that room, pretty much. I mean, they have to get it right because a lot of people are going to be judging the movie based on that. The fact that they can like clean the walls and all that stuff, the zero gravity. But that's if you haven't read the book, go read it. It's actually a really short read. I think it's maybe like 200 pages. It's actually not that long.
Yeah, it's not super long. 200 or 300 pages is the most.
So I would definitely, if you've got any kind of like e-reader or a Kindle or anything, I would definitely go download it before the movie, because I would feel, obviously movies don't capture it like books do, but to each his own. If you want to read the book or watch the movie, I'm pretty sure they're both gonna be great with Harrison Ford. And the cool thing about these movies is that you're getting unknown actors. Like I've never seen that kid before, so that's always a good thing in my book. All right, so today was the release of a new trailer for Robocop, the reboot. Yes, we're talking about the same Robocop from the 80s, and I know somebody who has a special love for Robocop, and that'll be Mr. Lee. So I know you're a fan of this trailer that you saw today. Please elaborate.
I got a half heart on. I was really happy with it, and I'm really excited now because now it's a movie I can look forward to. Since they announced Ben Affleck's going to be Batman, and I was excited for another movie until that announcement, but it was pretty magical. I like to say. So I was happy. I saw Michael Keaton as the chief. They turned it all black. The Robocop outfit. If anybody hasn't seen the trailer, you need to see it. And the only thing I have like an issue about, I was waiting for someone to get capped the first 10 minutes of the movie, because the first 10 minutes, what's his face gets literally shot for like 40 minutes. Like that's half the movie.
Right.
But now he's like in a car explosion, which is kind of lame, but I guess new times. So.
Yep. What about you, Tips?
Well, first of all, let me just say I'm shocked because my assumptions early on were that Lee would hate it because Lee is I respect Lee because he's your ultimate fanboy. Basically, he when he believes in something, he wants it to be a certain way, and so I kind of got the gist that he wasn't gonna like it, but he did, so that's good. I
did. I really like it.
That's good. No, I'm glad. I'll just say the only thing I saw that I really liked, the main actor, Joel Kinnaman. He's if you've seen The Killing on AMC, he's one of the main actors on that show, and I've loved him on that show. So I mean, a lot of people, he's going to be kind of a new face to them, but I could just vouch for him. He's a pretty badass actor. So I mean, this will be his first feature film, so I mean, I guess it could fall flat, but at least on The Killing with the character he has on there, I think he's probably up there with like John Hamm and Bryan Cranston. Some of those guys is just like an amazing actor. So.
Well, that's definitely good. What about you, Keith? I mean, do you have any ties to the original? Are you looking forward to this new one, or?
I mean, I played a game here or there when I was a kid, but other than that, I haven't really followed the whole RoboCop as far as his past. But it looked like a cool movie. I liked the suit. I liked it when it was black. Definitely cool. Definitely with the new style of superhero costumes. It seems going with the tactical. Look good. Just looks like a good movie to me personally.
Yeah, for us to continue being friends, you need to watch it. The first one, not 2 through 4 because it was horrible, but yeah, you need to watch the first one. I think you'd enjoy it, and you get a mini chode like I did when I saw it. So.
Can you say chode?
I did.
I don't know if you could say chode on YouTube. Can you say chode?
I think we're good.
I'll have the interns look it up and check on that.
Yeah, definitely. So RoboCop. I mean, I think it's time for a reboot. I mean, why not? We're at a point now in cinema where we have to start going backwards because going forward is just there's nothing left. We've seen the same movie over and over again, and I mean, what's there left to do except for remake old movies? And some of them are hits, and some of them are obviously misses. But I think RoboCop, you kind of can't mess it up. Like
no. Let's take that back. Hollywood can mess it up.
Oh, that's true. That is true. I guess.
If this summer's taught us anything, it's that Hollywood can have as big a budget as they want. They'll mess it up.
Actually, getting on that, I saw the remake of Judge Dredd today.
Oh, is that any good?
I've seen it.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yes, it is. And I kind of wish I got my time back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad, but let's just say it doesn't have the humor as Sylvester Stallone did. And like I said, I'm a big 80s. Like, if I could time travel and be the same age I am now, and be that in the 80s, I totally would. So,
Right. Or probably like the late 70s, so you could probably catch that Star Wars for the first time.
oh, I think I'd cry.
Could you imagine just going back in a time machine and watching that at like your theater for the first time?
I would be really happy to get all the original toys and sell them.
I just want to like walk into the Empire Strikes Back and like 10 minutes before it happens, just lean over to the guy next to me and go, "Dude, check this out. Just hear me out. I bet you Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's dad." I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just gonna call it right now. And just blow people's mind with that.
Out of all your money making scams or going back in the past, that would be your biggest one. Just calling it before everybody, like $20. $20 says Vader's his pops.
Yeah, who what? I totally respect that too. That would be worth it. If you said that to me, I'm like, you could have done anything, like, sports games you could bet on, like Super Bowls or whatever. If you would have said that, I totally would respect that and give you mad props.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's the ultimate movie twist of all time, up to that point, especially. Like, I mean, I know I had to have just blown people's minds at that time. So just to be able to sit in a room and call it, and then as soon as it happens, everyone in the movie theater just turns around and looks at you. All right, work for George Lucas? What the heck?
No joke. It's like, are you the president's son? Like, what's going on here? Because this is a time, obviously, when internet is at its infant stage. Nobody has internet at their house. I mean, nowadays, if you really wanted to, everybody knows Zod died at the end of Superman is Still the week before it came out.
Right.
So, could you just imagine going back then and watching movies and just knowing what would happen would just freak people out. It'd be the funniest thing, I think. That's what I would use a time machine for. Screw curing cancer, all that stuff. Let's go back. Let's just go back in time and ruin everybody's experience.
I think I would stop episode 1 and 2 from being made and help them with episode 3. Oh, man.
That's actually going to be a good topic coming up. Not this podcast, guys, but hopefully in the next coming weeks whenever we hear some more information about it. But the new Star Wars series, I know we all have a lot of mixed feelings about that, but that's for another time, another date. So now we're kind of out of the movie section. Ben Affleck playing Batman should be pretty cool. Robocop's going to be good, and then Ender's Game's going to be amazing. Now we're going to go ahead and go through to the World of Warcraft 5.4 patch, which is a reason why me and Tips actually came back to the game in the first place, because of the new raids that was announced. We're actually looking forward to it. So we'll just go and let Keith, because he's been playing for the past couple months, he's going to actually kind of guide us into it, what's going to happen, what's going on, and go ahead and let us know what's going on.
Oh, man. It looks cool to me personally. Get to finally go and do a raid on what looks like you get to go siege Orgrimmar there. Pretty sure that's what's going to happen. That's what everybody says. Looking forward to that. The new flex raid seems kind of slick there. I'll be able to adjust the number of people that you can raid with if you don't have the full 25. That looks pretty sweet. The only thing I'm bummed about is they're making tanking easier. It's like, come on, guys, it's already pretty easy as it is, you know. Do you have anything to add? I mean, I guess I'm just there's a lot that's happening. I mean, you can go into specifics, but the biggest thing for me is definitely the Siege of Orgrimmar, and seeing what that's got to deliver. It just looks awesome, personally.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a little rundown. Basically, Garrosh has taken one of the Shaw things, whatever, from the Panda Land, and has decided to use it against his own people, and he's taken over Orgrimmar, and that's basically where the raid's going to take place. Orgrimmar is actually going to be its own raid. There's a lot of speculation as to where the people, like what the Horde tide is going to go for their new home. I don't know if it's just going to be like a phase thing or whatnot, but I've heard a lot of different things, like it's going to be like an underground Orgrimmar society kind of thing. You're finally going to be able to take out Garrosh, which has been a huge thing since Cataclysm, because that's when he became leader. So it should be pretty interesting. Everybody has this hatred towards Garrosh and has been waiting to give him the ass when he's needed. The thing that brought me back was just the raid looks really cool. I saw the demo for it, the trailer for it. And I'm looking forward to this year's BlizzCon, because that's when they're supposedly going to announce a new expansion. And each time there's an expansion announced, I'm always curious just to see where they plan to take things. Are they going to they can't bring back that special feeling you got in Burning Crusade. Obviously, they've tried countless times. I think they actually tried with this expansion, but it just didn't succeed as they wanted to. But I always love coming back in a new expansion just to see what's going on. It's a world, if you've never played, that is just massive on a scale of of a game. If you were to download the full game today, it's like 30 something gigs. That's how big this world is, and it brings me back every now and then. We try to quit it. I think we've quit 4 times now, and every time we quit, there's something about it that just makes you want to come back and just explore the world a little bit. There's been no other game that's hooked me as much as World of Warcraft has. So what's your opinion on the new 5.4 tips?
Like you said, the title, the Siege of Orgrimmar, that kind of gets your attention right away if you're because one of the things too, we should probably tell you, we're Horde players typically, so that hits home even a little bit more for us, and so that kind of got my attention. I watched the trailer, and that kind of made me a little more interested in seeing what Garrosh was up to, and the fact that you're literally gonna have to go in and basically raid Orgrimmar, and so that's pretty cool. And then I think what I found since coming back to the game is they fixed some of the things that made us quit and miss at the beginning. The way they did the Valor gear, earning the Valor itself through dailies and stuff like that, I think was a huge misstep. And Shaq will tell you, we love WoW, we're hooked on it, we come back to it time and time again, but we have vehemently disagreed with Blizzard on a lot of things that they've done, and Mists of Pandaria was a big one in terms of how they laid it out, and even things like LFR. I know Lee agrees that, a lot of things they've done that just have kind of taken away aspects of the game that we used to like and kind of what we held dear about it. But I did hear, basically the new way they're going to do gear, there's going to be an island where you're basically going to be just questing or killing random mobs with groups and getting loot drops from that rather than having to grind dailies for Valor and things like that. So I'm optimistic. I'm probably not going to rate it hardcore. My goal is maybe just to get in, running through the LFRs and just kind of experience it, and then perhaps if this new expansion looks interesting enough, I might start getting back into it. But unfortunately, the timing isn't great because GTA 5 coming out soon. The new console's coming out right after that. We're not going to probably, at least I'm not going to get crazy hardcore into it, but I do want to kind of experience it.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Grand Theft Auto 5. We're going to be coming back to that towards the end of the podcast. But Lee, did you want to put any? I know you've anti-WoW at this point. You've moved on to other games like League of Legends, which we will also talk about towards the end. You obviously don't care about 5.4, but do you just want to give a reason why you kind of parted ways with World of Warcraft?
It just didn't have the same feel. When I leveled a monk, because I bought Mist when it came out. I hated Cataclysm all the way through, and I was like, well, Mist looks really good, I guess I'll do Kung Fu Panda. And I literally leveled a monk, 1 to 85, and what was my time? A week, right? Tips, I did that in a week?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, I gave up. After I did that, it wasn't the same. I had some great times. The game was good. I had an awesome time with the Lich King and, playing beta through vanilla and doing the struggles and all that. It was definitely a good time, and it's just didn't have the same feel. Everything's toned down for people, which unfortunately, if you're coming new, that's cool. But it didn't have the same feel as even in vanilla. If you didn't know what you're doing, you would still got owned. And how hard is it to Google something?
Right.
Taking 1 to 60 in 6 months, and when you finally get to 60, being so happy you do Blackfire. That was the thing, or Strangletome. That was the thing, and it didn't have that feel. It was just so I don't know. It just wasn't the same as I remember it.
Right.
So that's, and I haven't touched it in about a year and a half, and I do miss all the good times, all the times of me nerd raging over Rogue stunlocking me. and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just it's not the same feel as I feel it could be or once was. So
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. We have millions of stories to tell you. We have people to talk about. Way early in the podcast, you heard somebody say the infamous Joey. He will be coming up in future episodes of the podcast. We have ran into a lot of people in this game. We have talked to these people, and we actually gotten to know most of them. And as the podcast goes on, you're going to hear these stories of people that either went very well or not so good. So just stay tuned for that in later episodes. But back to 5.4. Say again?
Oh, sorry. There was actually one more cool thing that I'm actually looking forward to with it that I forgot about. It's actually pretty big. They're connecting some realms, so to speak. So like right now, I play with some of the guys from work on server Stormscale, and they're actually going to connect a whole bunch of like the older servers that are low population. So you can actually join the same guilds, do the same auction house, that kind of a deal. So basically you are on separate servers, but in game it looks like you're on the same server, so you don't have to transfer your character, so to say. You can still do the same raids and dungeons together. You can RP, there you go again. You can do quests and stuff together. I just think that's going to be cool. I'm interested to see how it's going to work out, since auction houses will now be linked across 2 different servers, and you can mail across servers. That's kind of weird. I'm just curious to see how it's going to work, and if it works out good, then all the more power to Blizzard for saving money on server space and linking people together where economies are broken and guilds you just can't raid anymore.
Very nice. Yeah, that's one thing I'm looking forward to. There's a few things I'm actually looking forward to in this patch. The fact what they're doing with arenas now, you don't need an arena team anymore. Everybody's going to have their own personal rating, so you just literally join a group with somebody and queue up for arena. I think that's kind of nice, because I used to play on different, with different people doing twos back when I did arena pretty regularly. That's going to make it so much easier not having to leave groups and starting over. I think that's a thing that's needed to be done for a while, and they actually got that right. Like you're talking about the taunts, I mean, it feels like, because you and me tanked together a while back, and we plan on tanking again in the future, it's going to be so much easier to taunt off each other, but I feel like that's going to be too easy, and it's just not going to be fun. I don't know how they're going to fix that.
Yeah, it's one of those you taunt, walk away, and then come back and taunt when you need to. I mean, that's pretty much all you got to do now, it feels like.
Right. It seems like there's going to be no rotation at all for a tank. You literally just taunt and sit there. That's just WoW doing their thing with making the game easier for casual players, which is good for a game, but it's also bad for the hardcore people that have been playing for 7, 8 years. They're also coming out with a new aisle for gear and whatnot, so that's going to be kind of cool. The Timeless aisle, I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't really experienced so much with it. This patch is coming out September 10th, and once we play it, I think we're all gonna do a review. We're gonna get into another podcast, probably next week's podcast. We're gonna talk about it because this comes out next Tuesday, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Alrighty, cool. So definitely next Friday we will have done probably most of the patch to see how it all works, and we're gonna be talking about that a lot in the next podcast. But I think that's about it for a while for tonight. I don't think there's anything else. 5.4 is going to be the biggest thing for a while. BlizzCon, I'm pretty sure they're going to announce an expansion. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure they are. So now we're going to move from World of Warcraft to League of Legends, and this is where Lee shines. This is his new favorite game. So what's new in the League of Legends, Lee?
Not much. The 3.11 came out, which has a lot of good, good patches for like Draven and Fiora and all the cool champions. But mostly it's just they have a lot of threes map fixes. I know you'll be devastated by this, Shaq. Teemo's mushrooms only last 3 minutes in threes instead of 10. Same with Nidalee traps, stuff like that. They did a lot of UI fixes for spectating, so if you're like me and just bought a new champ and kind of want to see what the Diamond and Challenger tier players are doing, they have like a lot of Baron timers. You know, you could tell if people got a pentakill, stuff, all that good stuff. It's just a lot of like people that are overpowered and threes or Crystal Scar. They've nerfed a lot, and of course you go if you're an avid LOL player, you'd probably see it and know of it by now. So of course on LeagueOfLegends.com they have the full patch. But exciting news, at least for me, Garen is actually getting a update, so he doesn't look like a midget in a suit anymore with huge shoulders. So they're actually updating him, all of his graphics, and they're not doing spells or anything like they did with Yi, and that's a whole other argument with me. But no, so you have new skin art for Steel Legion all the way through Rugged, Dread Knight, the Saduin, Commando, and all that good stuff. And kind of, I was looking at the pictures today, and it's actually kind of neat because they actually change his hair every time. So, yeah, I mean, that's really big news. This is the Garen change and stuff like that. So hopefully in future patches we'll see a good Vayne nerf, because I'm all about nerfing Vayne and Yi right now. So, but yeah, that's really the big news. Oh, and the new skin, the Jaina, the weather reporter, came out. I'm not sure if that's the real name, but she looks like an actual weather reporter, and it actually has awesome graphics. She actually flies higher than the towers, which is pretty cool, and or the turrets, and yeah, so that's new in the league.
Very nice. Very nice. So that's pretty much. Anybody else have anything to say on League? We kind of moved towards WoW again, so we haven't been playing League as much.
No, I mean, at some point we'll probably come back and we'll be keeping updated on it. I know Lee is he's in the process of trying to progress up through the ranks, which probably a lot of League players, if you're listening, that's probably what you're doing too. Maybe we'll get a couple of dive-in listeners, but probably not right off the bat. So, we'll probably talk about that at some point and let him go over like some of his favorite tunes and stuff like that. But that'll be for a future podcast.
Very nice. All right, so the last topic of the night, and that's the big topic to me, is going to be the Grand Theft Auto 5 and what we want out of it, because we've all played Grand Theft Auto previous games, and this one has been hyped up so much that it's already getting like nominated for Game of the Year, and nobody's even played it yet. So so I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5, we got it coming out in 12 days, or actually 11 days. And what do you guys think? Anybody can go first. Keith or Tips, Lee?
I don't know much about it, because of course it's not going to come on PC for a while. So.
Right.
Well, I actually just pre-ordered it like 20 minutes ago, or an hour ago, I guess is what time I pre-ordered it. But no, I'm looking forward to the see how the multiplayer works on that, the MMO part. I'm curious to see how that's gonna work out. It looks really cool. I don't know. I just like going around and destroying stuff just randomly, So curious to see how that's gonna work. I've seen a lot of the trailers, and it looks cool in my book. I just hope they, I don't know. I just hope they don't ruin it, but I doubt they will. It has great potential.
Right. See, I didn't like part 4, but I'm really looking forward to part 5. So, Tips, I mean, what are your high hopes for this game? What are they going to be?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think I differ, at least from you. I know, I enjoyed Grand Theft Auto 4. Maybe it was because of the Russian accent, like Lee was talking about earlier, and I like the main character and Nico, and just in general, I mean, it was the first GTA on this new gen at the time on 360, and so I mean, I'm really just hoping that they build off of that. I think that they're probably going to. I mean, from what I've seen, they're basically going to change a lot of the things that we've seen in previous Grand Theft Autos. Mainly, there's 3 main playable characters that you can switch back and forth between, both during your just free time and you're in the world, and also even during like missions. You can kind of rotate between. So that's going to be something that's really interesting to see. I'm sure it looks like they've done some extra work on the mechanics of the game in terms of like shooting and things like that. From what I've seen on the trailers, I know they're trying to improve that. I know it kind of in the past. I mean, that's not what GTA is known for in terms of, as a quality shooter or anything like that. It's more of just the open world and the freedom of it. So if they can clean that up a little bit, make it a little more slick, that'd be pretty cool. And then just the size. I mean, I'm really excited that I got the PS3 and got rid of my Xbox because I really didn't know if that old Xbox could even handle the size and the graphics of this new GTA. So I think we're gonna I'm hoping to be impressed with the size and the graphics in the game.
For sure, definitely. Everything you said is pretty much, I agree with everything. The whole aspect of 3 characters at once is going to be obviously a new thing for Rockstar. I think I kind of, like, the last Rockstar game I played was, I think, Red Dead, and I kind of didn't like that as much as a lot of people did. So I'm kind of hoping they kind of get away from, I wouldn't say like a boring story, but part 4, I couldn't get into it. Like, there was something about it, and a big part of it was the driving just didn't feel good to me. So I'm hoping they improve that a little bit more. The multiplayer, it looks amazing. I mean, I know that we're not going to get the multiplayer until October 1st. So that's like 15 days after the release of it. That to me isn't really a big deal. It gives me time to play the game and enjoy it and figure out what's going on. I'm also getting on the PlayStation 3, so I just don't like the fact of having to download my game to the console. That just tells me right there the console isn't going to be that great to play on. So I would definitely recommend getting on the PlayStation 3. That's all the videos you've seen, all the trailers you've seen have been on a PlayStation 3. And that also, in my opinion, that makes it to where if Rockstar wants you to see it on the PlayStation 3, they want you to play it on the PlayStation 3. And I'm definitely a firm believer of that. So the game has great potential. As we're playing Last of Us, does it have Game of the Year potential? That's way too early in my opinion to say, but with the story of Last of Us, I just don't think it can even compete, but I could be completely wrong. I mean, other than that, I mean, I'm really excited for it because basically with patch 5.4 and Grand Theft Auto 5, that's what's going to get me to November 15th, which then I'll be playing Battlefield 4, Killzone, and Watch Dogs, which we will be talking about in a later podcast because that game looks amazing. But as for Grand Theft Auto 5, we're all getting it. We're all going to try it out. There will be a review. There might be more than one review on the website, to be completely honest. And we'll probably be making a video about it pretty soon about it, like its individual video. But does anybody else want anything to say about Grand Theft Auto 5, or are we all good on that?
Yeah, pretty good. We're good.
Alrighty, guys. Well, it's been almost an hour and a half, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. This was our first podcast. Obviously, there's going to be some flaws, but hey, we're just starting out. We have a website, www.thecasualnerds.com. We're going to put that in the description of the video. You'll be able to find this podcast on here, on YouTube. We're going to try to get it on iTunes, but don't be hopeful for it on the first week. We got to figure all this out. We're new to this whole thing. But if you did happen to listen to us, give us a like on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check out the website. If you keep promoting us, we'll keep doing podcasts and hopefully be able to do something, pretty big with this. But I've been Shaq, and you guys want to go ahead and sign off, I guess?
Sure. I'm Big Wave Dave, aka Lee, and hopefully y'all will hear my voice smoothing y'all's ears next Friday. Does that work? No?
I'll be coming at you with the smooth hits. Next Friday night.
This is horrible. This is the worst ending ever. Anyways, one guy was Keith, the other guy was Tips, I've been Shaq, and then obviously the guy you just heard was Lee. So, until next week, guys, take it easy.
Bye.
Laters.